The overarching goal of any estate planning engagement is to accomplish what the client set out to. We want to meet the needs of the client and the goals that they set out at the very beginning. And this is a process that we go through because oftentimes clients don't know what they want to accomplish. And part of kind of the art behind the science is getting to know that client and learning what's important to them and trying to craft the entire estate plan around what it is they want to accomplish. When clients come to us for estate planning, we want to make sure that they're in the right mindset. Oftentimes they come to us and they're stressed out and they're feeling anxiety about this overwhelming, ginormous event that they have to get accomplished. They're feeling anxiety about the reason that they're there to create this plan if something happens to them or when something happens to them. And we want to make sure that they're coming at it from an educated decision-making process rather than an emotional one. We want to make sure that we find out what's important to the client, why they're there, who it is that they're trying to protect, and what their needs are. And we take all of that information and we put together a plan that works. Some of the common misconceptions of estate planning are, oftentimes people believe that your spouse has the ultimate right to all of your assets, and that your spouse has the right to make all decisions. Well, that's not necessarily true. If you don't have an estate plan, or a written will, or even a will that complies with the requirements set forth in Massachusetts, that may not necessarily happen. Massachusetts has a program or a system called intestate succession, in which they set forth who gets what and what person has what we call priority of appointment. What person the Commonwealth of Massachusetts believes will be the one that administers your estate and makes decisions on your behalf. So one of the misconceptions that people think is that by virtue of the fact that you're married to the person who died, we call that the decedent, that you automatically have priority of appointment. Another misconception that people have is if you're the child of a person that you automatically inherit. While this is true if you are related by blood, oftentimes if you have stepchildren and you don't have a written estate plan, those stepchildren don't have a right to inherit. I have a client that came to me and her father had died and she had 6 other siblings. Those 6 siblings she was raised with. And when it came time for each of those siblings to inherit, 5 of the 6 didn't inherit because those 5 were from a relationship of her mother or stepmother, and stepchildren don't inherit in Massachusetts without a will. So a major misconception that people have is that stepchildren will inherit if a person doesn't have a will under intestate succession. Don't leave your estate plan to luck and happenstance. Knowledge is power. You want to reach out and retain a really intelligent and well-versed attorney to help you to get through the estate planning process. It's of utmost importance to do it right, because if it's not done the correct way, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is going to make a decision as to what happens with your assets and who's in charge of disseminating those assets to others. And oftentimes, it's the family member that's the loudest and fights the hardest. So ask yourself, which family member is going to be the one that fights the hardest to make the decisions about what happens to you, your assets, and your loved ones? Call us today.